When people hear that I work at edX, they often ask me what my thoughts are about where education is going, especially with sort of the digital side of things, and what the future is going to look like. And despite the fact that my job is to figure out what we should be building to improve education online and sort of blended education on campus, I have to say that I actually have no idea. However, there are two things that I do know. One is, based on my teaching of a bunch of classes here at Harvard as a grad student and having designed them, I'm really convinced that we have a huge opportunity to do better. Many of my students, even here at Harvard, really do not master the stuff that we're trying to teach them in even the best courses. The second thing is something I've learned in my time at edX, that even though I may not know what the final destination is, I do know how to get there. And there's a standard process that everyone tries to follow to get there. And it won't surprise anyone with experience in management, engineering, teaching, right? Feedback loops. If you have some big mission or goal that you're trying to get to, you pick some approach that you think might get you there. You let it try it long enough to actually see how it's working. Make sure you stop and actually reflect on how it's going, why it's working, why it's not working. Think about what changes you might be able to make. Go back again. Sounds easy, probably not new to anyone. And yet, one of the things I've learned is it is really the key, and it's really hard to get right. So one just concrete personal story from my experience, right? Having been a product manager for the last maybe year and a half, I've really been struggling with sort of the omnipresent challenge and nemesis of sort of business people today, email and task tracking, right? There's so many things going on, and it's really hard to figure out what it is I should be doing and how to actually use my time effectively. And, so I have a feedback loop going. I have some process. I'm trying something. Every couple of months, I throw up my hands and say, this is not working. And then I change my approach. I try some different email tool. I try a different way of tracking my tasks or prioritizing. And then 2 or 3 months later, this happens again. So, feedback loop was sort of there. But earlier this year, I made one tiny little change. Every Monday morning, when I walk into work, the very first thing I do is say, look, what is my goal that I'm working on? And for a while, it was sort of prioritization and focus. How did I do last week? What worked? What didn't? Why? Explicitly ask myself, what are some small tweaks I could make just this week to see if I can actually make this better? And then that's it. The week continues, and the next Monday, this happens again. So what have I done? I've shortened the feedback time from 2 or 3 months to a week. And so lessons I would have learned in 12 weeks earlier, I learned pretty much every week. And it's made a really, really huge difference to the way I actually get work done, just in a few months. And more importantly, it's really providing the foundation for having this kind of feedback loop for any other project or goal that I'm trying to do, right? And this is something that I never, ever learned in school in over 20 years of, high school, college, grad school. I mean, I picked it up informally, but not really, was never taught. The other thing, of course, is this is not just a process that you can use for individuals, but it really is exactly the same idea for any organization. And again, it's something that people always talk about, but is actually hard to execute. So at edX, in the 2 years I've been there, or less than 2 years I've been there, we've grown from having one course open to the world online with about 100,000 students and less than 10 employees to 170 courses now and about 100 employees. And throughout, it's been feedback loop, feedback loop, feedback loop, right? We look and see what's working, what's not working. This was a total disaster last semester. What are we going to do about it? And the times when we forget to actually explicitly pause and reflect and adjust course are the times when we just keep going until it becomes a really, really big disaster. So it's a simple message, but I really hope that people go away and think about what are my personal feedback loops? Do I have them in place? Are they working? And then how can we make feedback loops in our organizations more effective? because there's so much to do in education overall, online, on campus, in communities, and this is the only way to actually make progress. Thank you.